There are some background noises also there. Okay. So thank you all, dear devotees, for joining today. Let's welcome all of you. Say Haribol 3 times. Haribol.
Haribol, Haribol, Haribol.
Haribol. Let's welcome Simhesvara Prabhu by saying Haribol 3 times. Haribol, Haribol, Haribol.
Haribol, Haribol, Haribol.
You, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
This is you're reading from Srimad Caitanya Caritamrita, chapter 2, which is titled as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this chapter, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami establishing the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Many of you know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very confidential incarnation, Chana Avatara. So why it is Chana Avatara? Because of the most confidential subject matter is of all this is the science of the Krishna, science of Krishna consciousness. That's the most confidential subject matter in this world. There's nothing that beyond that confidential or absolute knowledge. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu manifested to relieve that most confidential subject matter, the knowledge, and who is Krishna and who is Srimati Radharani and what kind of worship one has to perform. This was not revealed in any time in the past or in any other incarnations. You can see that, if you take any Puranas, if you take any scriptures, you don't see that. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears only once in a lifetime of Brahma, once a day of the Brahma. That means like Krishna. Krishna comes once a day of Brahmadev. That means once a day of Brahmadev means 1000 yuga cycle. In that 1000 yuga cycle, the Krishna appears. Similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also appears like that. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confidentially appears so that he can reveal this confidential subject matter to the confidential devotees. Understand? To the confidential devotees. So that's why in many places, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is considered as a great saint or Mahaprabhu, so many ways. But those who know, those who understand and realize who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then we can perceive that who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not that easy also, dear devotees. That's why Sri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is revealing the identity of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu over here in this chapter. So this chapter is then again divided in few sections. So the first 1 to 9 is the prelude, and then first 3 verses are obeisances and the praise, as we all know that. Then 4 to 9 is the brief explanation of the chapter 3, Adilila chapter 3. So then this comes to that 12 to 17 is the impersonal Brahman aspect of the Supreme Lord, the Lord's effulgence. That is perceived through Jnana Yoga. Then 18 to 27 is explaining the Paramatma aspect of the Supreme Lord. That Paramatma aspect is the plenary portion of the Lord Govinda, present in the hearts of all living beings. So that's the Supreme Lord as the Super Soul, the plenary portion, who lives situate in the hearts of every living entity. Then the 22 to 27 is the Bhagavan aspect of the Supreme Lord. So why Chaitanya Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is revealing this aspect? Because of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami comparing, understanding who is Krishna. Similarly, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami revealing that transcendental truth about the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we will go into this verse and see that what we can understand from these verses. You can repeat after me. This verse is actually from Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay? You can repeat after me. You can unmute. Vadandi tattvavidattattvam
Vadanti
tattva
tattvatvam
vidanta.
yajnanamadvayam
Yagnam
yagyan
Yajkanam
madayam.
brahmedi paramatmedi
brahmeti
Meri
paramatmeti
Paramatmeti
gavanidhi shabdaye
Bhagavaniti
bhagavaniti
Sabdaye
Sabde.
sabde
vadandi tattvavidattattvam
Vadanti
vadanti
Vadanti tattva vidam
tattvatvidam
tattvam.
yajnanamavyayam
Jnanam
yajnanamadvyam
abhayam.
Yamyagavayam
brahmedi paramatmedi
Brahmeti
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 Paramatmeti
paramatmeti.
paramatmeti
bhagavanidhi shabdaye
Bhagavaniti
bhagavaniti
Sabdaye
sabdate
Vad- vadandi tattvavidattattvam
Vadanti
Vadanti
Tattva
tattva
tattvam
Vidattam
vidantam
tattvam
tattvam.
yajnanamavyayam
Agnanam
Yajnanam
yajnanamadvyam
abhayam.
Abhyayam
brahmedi paramatmedi
brahmeti
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 paramatmeti
Paramatmeti
paramatmeti.
bhagavanidhi shabdaye.
Bhagwan
bhagavaniti
Bhagavaniti
sabdate
Sabdaye
Sabdaye.
We'll go word by word meaning. Synonyms. Vadanti, they say,
Vadanti.
they
Said.
say. Tat,
tat
that.
Te.
that
Tattvavidaha,
Tattva
tattvavid
vidaha.
learned souls.
Learn
learns
souls.
Tattvam,
tattvam
Tattvam.
the absolute truth.
the absolute
Absolute
truth
truth.
Yet,
yet
Yat.
which,
which
Which.
jnanam,
jnanam
Jnanam.
knowledge.
knowledge
Knowledge.
Advayam,
advyam
Advayam.
non-dual.
non-dual
Non-dual.
Brahma,
brahma
Brahma.
Brahman.
brahman
Brahman.
Iti,
iti
Iti.
thus.
thus
Thus.
Paramatma,
paramatma
Paramatma.
Paramatma.
paramatma
Paramatma.
Iti,
iti
Iti.
thus.
thus
Thus.
Bhagavan,
bhagavan
Bhagavan.
Bhagavan.
bhagavan
Bhagavan.
Iti,
iti
Iti.
thus.
thus
Thus.
Shabdaye
sabdate
Sabdayate.
is
Is
not.
is
known.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
J.
Translation, please repeat after me. Learned transcendentalists
Non-transcendentalist
who know the absolute truth
Who
who
knows
know
the
the
Absolute
absolute
truth,
truth
say that
say
that
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 it is non-dual
is
is
non-dual
non-dual
dual
knowledge
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 and is called impersonal Brahman,
and
and
is
is
called
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 as
impersonal
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 Brahman,
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 the localized Paramatma,
the
the localized
localized
Paramatma,
Paramatma,
and the personality of Godhead.
and the
and the
personality
personality
of
of
personality of
Godhead.
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 Some devotees can read the word paragraphs.
Prabhuji, I will be happy to read
Yes, please.
the purport. This Sanskrit verse appears as the 11th verse of the first canto, second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Sud Goswami answers the question of the sages headed by Sanokarusi concerning the essence of all scriptural instruction. Tadavida Vidaya refers to a person who have a knowledge of the absolute truth. They can certainly understand knowledge without duality because they are on the spiritual platform. The absolute truth is known sometimes as a Brahman, sometimes as a Paramatma, and sometimes as a Bhagavan. Persons who are in a knowledge of the truth know that one who tries to approach the absolute simply by mental speculation will ultimately realize the impersonal Brahman. And one who tries to approach the absolute through yoga practice will be able to realize Paramatma. But one who has complete knowledge and spiritual understanding realizes the spiritual form of Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, should I read next one?
Anybody else is there wanted to read?
Yes, I'll read Prabhu Dandavatpanam.
Yes.
Devotee of the personality of Godhead know that Sri Krishna, the son of King Braja, is the absolute truth. They do not discriminate between Sri Krishna's name, form, qualities, and pastimes. One who wants to separate the Lord's absolute name, form, and qualities from the Lord Himself must be understood to be lacking in absolute knowledge. A pure devotee knows that when he chants the transcendental name Krishna, Sri Krishna is present as transcendental sound. He therefore chants with full respect and veneration. And when he sees the form of Sri Krishna, he does not see anything different from the Lord. Uh, when he see the form of Sri Krishna, he does not see anything different from the Lord. If one sees otherwise, he must be considered untrained in absolute knowledge. This lack of absolute knowledge is called Maya. One who is not Krishna conscious is ruled by the spell of Maya, under the control of the duality in knowledge. In the absolute, all manifestations of Supreme Lord are, are non-dual. In the absolute, all manifestations of the Supreme Lord are non-dual, just as the multifarious form of Vishnu, the controller of Maya, are non-dual. Empirical philosopher who pursue the impersonal Brahman accept only the knowledge that the personality of the living entity is not different from the personality of the Supreme Lord. Mystic yogic who try to locate the Paramatma accept only the knowledge that the pure soul is not different from the super soul. The absolute conception of a pure devotee, however, include all others. A devotee does not see anything except in the relationship with Krishna, and therefore his realization is the most perfect of all.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Okay, thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati
Deवीं सरस्वती व्यासं ततो
Yamudire
जयमुदीरयेत्
Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam
भद्रेषु
Bhagavata
नित्यं
Sevaya
भागवत सेवया
Uttama
भगवती
Sloke
श्लोके
Bhaktir Bhavati
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी
Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyanaanchana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Dhyena Tasmai Shri Gurave
वे
Namaha
नमः
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
चैतन्यनंद
Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya
जय
Nanda
गौर भक्त वृंद
Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya
जय
Nityananda
चैतन्यनंद
Jaya Dvaita Chandra
चंद्र
Jaya
जय गौर
Nanda Jaya Jaya Sri
श्री
Chaitanya Jaya
चैतन्य जय
Nityananda
नित्यानंद
Jaya
जय
Dvaita
द्वैत
Chandra
चंद्र
Jaya
जय गौर भक्त वृंद
Gaurabhakta Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So this verse, especially taken from the second canto, first canto, second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. Vadanti tat tat vidat tattva vedhyanam avyayam brahmedi paramatmedi bhagavan idhi shabde. Vadanti tat tat. That absolute knowledge can be perceived. That transcendental absolute truth can be perceived in three different aspects of the Supreme Lord. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, can be perceived in three aspects. One is known as Brahman, impersonal aspect of the Supreme Lord, and Paramatma, the localized aspect of the Supreme Lord, and then Bhagavan. So, in this verse, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is revealing who is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not is Bhagavan. So that consists of everything. He is also a Paramatma. He is also the impersonal aspect. And ultimately, he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. So let us meditate on a little bit about what is the difference of and how, who is perceiving all this, right? So we know that in a mystic yogi, those who are meditating on the yoga processes, go to the forest. So They meditate, they sit there and they meditate for hundreds of years, or some kinds of yoga practices they do. They control their mind, everything. So ultimately, what they do, they're looking at their own heart. They are looking at their own heart. See that my soul, the Atma which I have, that is not different from the super soul. He is also externally and internally, he is situated, and he sees that there is no difference between Atma and the Paramatma. And then finally, then because of his mystic yoga, he sees that four-handed Vishnu form as Paramatma in his heart. So he realizes that, yes, the self is also the expansion or the portion of that Paramatma, Atma and Paramatma. So this is the way that yogi perceives. Yogi just meditating on that aspect, nothing else. So he just closes his eyes and then he sit there for hundreds of years, and he meditate upon the Lord. So we know that when Dhruva Maharaj, when he went into the forest, Dhruva Maharaj was also doing this penance for 6 months, not many years or something, but 6 months. He is seeing that Supreme Lord in his heart, Dhruva Maharaj. So when finally Lord appeared before him, then immediately the Lord in the heart of Dhruva Maharaj just disappeared. So then what happened? Then he opened his eyes. What happened? So the same Lord was seeing in his heart, standing before front of Dhruva Maharaj. So he perceived, he realized the yogi, the mystic yogi here, Dhruva Maharaj was doing the yoga practices. So like that, thousands of yogis like that, and they perceive. So that's why many times yogis get all these kinds of various mystic, powers. So they invoke their potencies and they invoke their various chakras. So basically, this is nothing but they come to a stage where they perceive that the potency of that Paramatma who is seated in the heart. So through the Paramatma, he gets this mystic yoga. So basically, he comes to the stage where he realizes and he perceives that the Paramatma aspect of the Lord. So can somebody say, what is this Paramatma aspect? So Lord has thousands of incarnations. Lord has thousands of expansions. Lord has thousands of plenary portions. And what is this Paramatma aspect of it? Can anybody say?
The Paramatma is situated in our heart.
Okay.
Localized.
And Mame Vansho Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha. And
So Paramatma, yes, Paramatma is situated in our heart. Is that only Paramatma situated in our heart? Anywhere else?
Everywhere, Prabhu. Any atom also.
Everywhere. Paramatma is everywhere, even in an atom. And anything else?
Prabhuji, when we say the heart, so do we know the exact location in the heart?
In the region of heart. That's what Srila Prabhupada said. The region of heart. That's why the heart is big. Because of the potency.
So it is in the muscle, heart muscle, or subcutaneous tissue, or where exactly?
It's not that. We see that's what it is, right? So when anything that which goes beyond the gross and the subtle, right? We know that it's not like in a material form, right? So what happens? So we know that the earth, water, fire, air, ether, and all are in the gross form. So just for an example, you put a one full can of a gasoline, okay? So gasoline, you brought it, and that is in a very liquid form. That's in a gross form. So you open that, the gasoline, the can. Within 30 minutes, that will all become evaporate, right? And you feel that the smell of everywhere, right?
Yes.
So now the same gas become what happened? Same gas become very subtle form of that gross form, right? So now I'm asking that where is that gasoline? It was there in the container. Now it is where? Now it is everywhere, right? Now the gas,
Right.
same gas is everywhere now. So that is called subtle form. So our spirit soul is Atma is more than beyond even subtle form. It's very sushma. We cannot even perceive that where. So in one sense, the Paramatma and this Atma, they are like, sitting in a branch of a tree like two birds. It is there, but they perceive entire body. Understand?
Mm-hmm.
They perceive like in a subtle form. It is beyond subtle form. They perceive the entire body. They are there in the eyes. They are there in the each atom of the body. That's why everything, each cells works. Each cell splits and create a next cell, right? So each and every atomic particle which contains the potency of that Atma and Paramatma, right? As a body, as a living entity.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So then Atma is there and the Paramatma is there. As long as it is there, then everything functions, right? Because of the potency of, like, just for an example, the sun is there and sun is there into the globe, but the sun rays are expanded everywhere. We feel sun, right? Every day that when we get the sun rays, we feel the sun. So similarly, that the potency of the Lord and His are, yes, of course, in the region of the heart, and but it's pervaded in the entire body. Get it? So it's pervaded in the
In
entire
the
body,
body.
entire body. So this is the aspect of the soul, right? The soul is
Mm-hmm.
pervaded the entire body, but Paramatma is pervaded in the entire universe or in the entire cosmic creations. Same Paramatma. That's why I cannot understand what you think, or you cannot understand what I think, because of my soul is just limited to my body. But Paramatma knows what you think and what I think. You understand that aspect?
Right. Yes. He is
Paramatma.
a
So, yeah. So, Paramatma pervaded in everything. So that's why it says that that same Paramatma is perceived as the Supreme Lord. He has this Vadanditat Vidatattvam Jnanamabhyo Brahmeri Paramatmeri Bhagavan. So this is the same Supreme Lord. He is pervaded in every aspect of this world. He is known as Paramatma. Paramatma he is in everything. He's pervaded in all in the entire world. That's why even we know that John Oppenheimer, he split the atom. When he split the atom, he could see that the tremendous degree of energy which explodes, where it's come from? It's coming from the same, that Paramatma. So then can we say that this is just limited? No, Paramatma is unlimited. You can, the degree of how do you, get into that, then a degree of that one, you can see that potency of that Paramatma in so many aspects. The sun globe, right? Who is the 10,000 degree? I mean, it's mentioned that there are hundreds of nuclear bombs. If you explode at once thousands of nuclear bomb. So that's what is the potency. That's what is the power of the sun god. Explode at detonate at a time. Who does all these things? So what is this? Is the sun globe which emanates such a heat and such a light, the entire universe. And he is there and he's doing this. Who is that? That's a potency of that Supreme Lord. That's called also Paramatma, but in a different way, we can call it as our acharyas, our sages, our great devotees. They found out that who is this sun god, who is this moon god. That's why our scripture is so wonderful. They perceived and they realized. So, like that, the Lord is. Yes.
Prabhuji, your voice is disappear. We don't hear you.
Sorry for the disturbances.
Okay, I just called you to make sure you know that. All right.
So everywhere in this universe, there is not even a single atom which is not that Lord's, potency. That's not there. Everything. So this is the Paramatma aspect of the Lord. Okay, you understand?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so it's not that we can just like a what is called some stones we pick up. Oh, okay, we can go and pick the soul out from the heart. You cannot. This is pervaded everything. That's also the part of the potency, the portion of the potency of Paramatma. So, but it's limited and it's localized in the body itself. But that same Atma, when he comes to that self-realization, comes to that stage of, the Atmiya, the spiritual level. That's why the yogis has to surpass all these various lower stages. He has to goes through the yama and the niyama. That means the do's and the don'ts. That means regulatory and regulatory principles. He has to observe strictly all these do's and the don'ts. Then he comes to that yama, niyama, asana. He has to perform. His body has to be so wonderful in such a way that he cannot affected by this cold and the winter and the summer and things like that. He has to be fit. Otherwise, he will contract with some kinds of diseases and all gone. He can't do it. So the first steps are actually follow the principles of the regulative principles, do's and don'ts, and then come to the practices that he has to fit his body. Then he has to control his mind, right? So this is a surpassing his bodily and sensually and the mentally all these various necessities. So then he control his mind with the pranayama. Then he comes to that yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara. Then he's also pratyahara. He stops, the incessant degree of desires, and if he tries to focus, so then only he gets that the focus, pratyahara. That means intake, whatever he takes, in the sense that he does not listen to all these mundane things. He does not go and to the hotels and eat whatever he likes to eat. He doesn't go out and people, those who are the mundane and topics of this. So all his senses he will close in such a way that he would listen only what is necessary for his upliftment of his spiritual potency. So this way he cross over. He cross over his lower status and lower plane. That means per se that mental and the sensual and the gross body. That's what is so pratyahara. Then dharana. Then that's the time he comes to and situate in very proper understanding. Dharana means very proper understanding who he is, what he is and all. Then he comes to that dhyana. Then only he can properly meditate upon that, the Paramatma, the aspect of him, the Lord aspect of it. So initially he may chant Om, right? So he knows that within that Om, that the Lord is there. So he put himself in such a way that, and then he started to chant and recite this mantra Om, not addressing any specific deity or something. And then what happens? He continues to do that. Then finally he realized that the Paramat, because of now he's on the spiritual, on the Atmiya, the plane. He's on the spiritual plane. There he sees that the Supreme Lord, that is the spirit soul, he sees that is a portion of that Paramatma, and he sees that's yoga, right? That's called the Ashtanga Yoga. So Ashtanga Yoga process, all the angas is focused, dovetail towards that Supreme, and he perceives that the Paramatma, that four-handed Vishnu form within his heart. The devotees, there are so many yogis. They came to this mystic, processes. We can see that there are so many. Now Kumbh Mela is happening, and there are so many yogis. They do all these kinds of mystic yogas. Some extent they will have some kinds of realization like this. That's why they can even live in the Himalayas. They have, they can diminish. So then they come to the cities. They get the Ashtasiddhis. Anima, Ligima. Anima means they can minimize themselves like an atom, and Ligima means they can grow like anything, and So these are the various siddhis also they will develop accordingly, because of now they are acting on the spiritual level. The spiritual potency have all these various benefits. Okay, but that is just a temporary. So this is the Paramatma aspect of the Lord. So Paramatma also, anybody knows that what is the other function of Paramatma? Anybody remembers the other function of Paramatma? Hare Krishna. Are you there? Just checking. Hello? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we do hear, Prabhuji.
Okay, just I thought
the answer. So,
sorry.
Chit aspect, Prabhu?
Yeah, the other
Chit.
aspect of Paramatma. What is the other functions of Paramatma?
Chit.
I didn't hear you.
Chit,
Chit.
Prabhu.
Chit. Okay, yeah, that's he's seated in the heart. That's he's there. But other functions of Paramatma is he is the one who comes in this world as all the other incarnations. Understand? The Paramatma form of the Lord. So what it does they means, so we know that Krishna comes only once in a day of Brahma. Then there are six kinds of avatars in this world. There is Yuga avatars, there are Manvantara avatars, there is Shakti Avesh avatars, there is
Lila
Lila
Avtara, Guna Avtara,
avatars, Guna
Guna
avatara.
Avtara.
Yes. So like that, there are various types of avatars, right? So all these avatars, except when one day of Brahman Krishna, that in the Dwapara Yuga, 28th millennium on Dwapara Yuga, Krishna comes and immediately after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes. But all the other times, who is coming into this world as the incarnation? This is the Paramatma. Understand? Who is that Paramatma? Where does he resides? Everything else, we know that. Who is that Paramatma? What is his name? Anybody knows? He is Shiro.
Garbhodaksha Vishnu.
No, Shiro Dakshaya Vishnu.
Shiro Daksha Vishnu.
Yes, they're all Bhakti Shastris. Okay, I think must have gone through all this. So Shiro Dakshaya Vishnu. So we know that on this realm, on this material realm, is called Swedadip. Swedadip, and the topmost portion of this material universe. There, the Lord resides as the Shiro Dakshaya Vishnu. That you can see that in the milk ocean. Shira, milk. The milk ocean, the Lord resides there. And then resting on a recliner of Ananda Shesh, and then Mother Lakshmi also serves. And this is where the Dhruva Maharaj reached, and is also called Dhruvalok. But it's actually, this is the abode of the Supreme Lord. So that's why it is static and doesn't move. Every other universes, every other planets, every other stars, everything revolves around this one, the universe that is called Swedadip. It is white. Why? Because of its white, because of its milk ocean. So where the Lord resides. So from there, the Lord comes into this world as in various incarnations, as the Yuga Avataras, Manvantara Avataras, like that. So we know that when Gajendra was in crisis, so immediately the Shirodakshaya Vishnu heard this, and he came immediately. Even he saw that Garuda is flying slow, and then he jumped out of the Garuda and came, with the speed of mind before Gajendra. Who is that? That is the Shirodakshaya Vishnu, the Supreme Lord. So this is the various aspect of Paramatma. So, but this is the higher realization of it. But a yogi who comes and meditate upon, then he sees the Lord in the heart of, every living entity as well. So this is the one aspect of it. The Paramatma aspect. It's a localized aspect of the Supreme Lord. We can say that, in the each and every body, each and every atom, and each and every universe, the Lord resides there. And he is there. That's why he is known as the maintainer, right? He's Vishnu, he's known as the maintainer, and he does all this. So this is the Shirodha, the Paramatma aspect of the Supreme. Now, let us come to the Brahman aspect of the Supreme Lord. So then, who is Brahman? Again, right? As we all know that the Brahman is the effulgence of the Supreme Lord. Effulgence. So naturally, as we all say that the nature or the entire world, the nature of this material world is dark. Okay, the nature of material world is dark. So you need sun god, you need the moon god, you need the stars. Like that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, na tad bhasayado surya, na changana pavaga, idigatva na nivartande tadhama paramamama. My abode is never illuminated by sun or moon. Right? As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, na tad bhasayado surya, na shashanga na pavakaka. There is no moon, there is no stars. Idi gatva na nivartande tadhama paramama. One who reaches my abode will never comes back into this material world again. So Lord's abode is completely by the effulgence of the Lord. Effulgence of the Supreme Lord. There is no need of electricity. There is no need of any different other mechanism to light up. But nature, the material nature, that's called inferior nature, by default, the entire nature is in darkness. That's why asatoma tasadgamaya. From this tamasoma jyotirgamaya, from this darkness, so please lead me to that light. That's why it's in the Upanishad which reveals that. So the Brahman effulgence, this is called Brahman or the effulgence. So that effulgence is pervaded everywhere, that we can say that. That's why. So when you see that the material universe and the spiritual universe, so as soon as, like, we know that the Brahmalok is there, then beyond the Brahmalok, there is another lok called Lokaloka. Lokaloka is the where that all that we can see it, a darkest region. This where Krishna and Arjuna in the Krishna book is revealed that Krishna and Arjuna went to Vaikunta, and then Krishna was using his Sudarshana Chakra to see the ether because it was full of dark. So this is the Lokaloka is beyond the Brahma Loka. It is kind of full of dark. Then reaches to the boundary of material universe and the spiritual universe. This is called Viraja river, or the Viraja in between the spiritual world and the material world. So there, that as soon as Arjuna couldn't hold his eyes. Arjuna was closing because of the, this is the effulgence and the, which sparking, like sparkling, like, this is coming to his eyes. So this is the effulgence, the outer border, and also the entire spiritual world this is the effulgence of the Lord. So it's called Brahman. So that Brahman aspect is pervaded also everywhere. Okay, that Brahman aspect also pervaded in everything. So that's why the sun globe got the light, right? Where is come from? The same, the Supreme Lord's effulgence. All the stars, the heat which generates light, where is come from? Otherwise, can you imagine that something that we can create some light out of our own, yes, mystic yogis can do that because of it's all connected to that, the supreme potency, Atma. So like that, so where is coming from? This is all the Brahman aspect of the Lord, the effulgence aspect of the Lord. So also in one sense, which enlightens, like anything that which enlightens us, this is the Brahman aspect of the Lord. Anything which enlightens us. Suppose we are reading Jnana, right? The knowledge that we get. So what happens? Immediately we have that knowledge. So it enlightens us. It gives us light in our heart, and we can see that the things properly, and then we perceive things properly, and we understand things properly. So this is the Brahman aspect of the Lord, or we can say that the effulgence of the Lord. So that's why, those who are too much into those who are into the Jnana Yoga, as we know that there are different kinds of yogas. One is Ashtanga Yoga, then is Karma Yoga, then there is Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga means with the knowledge. With the knowledge, one is eternally connecting with the Supreme Lord. So this is the impersonal aspect, or Brahmavadis, Brahmam, Jagat Mithya, Brahmam Satyam. They say Brahmam. They say that is everything is a light. Everything is a light. So there is no form for the Lord. There is no physical aspect of the Lord. There is no qualities for the Lord. Nirvikara, Nirguna, Nirakara, Nirakara, all this. This is the impersonal aspect. They realize the Lord in such a way that Lord is nothing but just a light, just an effulgence. So they see. So the Brahmavadis, when they develop this knowledge, the jnana, and then they see the Lord is like the Brahman. Brahman means as nothing. That's why there is Advaitavad. Advaitavad means there is no duality. Everything is one. There is no other. So everything is one. That means in the sense that we cannot separate Krishna from anything. I mean, he is everything. So, of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also revealed that the understanding is that Sachindya Bheda Bheda Tattva. Yes, in simultaneously, Krishna is everything. That's why, Jompat Maharaj was saying this on the other classes. That there are only two things in this world, Krishna and the Krishnas. Yes, that's the truth. And we should all understand that. There is nothing that we can separate from the Lord, Krishna and the Krishnas. So, like that, the Brahman of the Supreme Lord's that potency is pervaded in everything so that we understand this is the Jnana Shakti, or the effulgence, or the Brahman, the Shakti of the Brahman effulgence. So this enlightens us, within ourselves. And then we come to that stage and coming, okay, yes, this is the Lord is one, there is no form, there is no qualities, there is no other, gunas for the Lord. Then what happens? Then he comes to that stage and realize that, yes, this is Brahman. So, as it says that Jnana Yogis, so they realize that's a Brahman. So what happens? What is their destination for the Jnana Yogis? They goes back to the Brahman effulgence. They merge into the Brahman effulgence of the Lord. So this is the outer space. They cannot enter into the Goloka Vrindavan. They cannot enter into the Vaikunta. They cannot. There is a spiritual personal aspect of the Lord. So the Brahmavadis or the Jnana Yogis, they cannot enter into the Vaikunta. They cannot enter into the Vaikunta planets because of everything that's a personal aspect. So since they don't have the realization, so they would be go to merge into the effulgence of that Lord. And then in due course of time, what happens? They fall down again back into this material world. So unless, as long as we are into this material world, as Krishna says, A Brahma Bhuvaner Loke, Punaravartino Arjuna, Mamupetitu Kaunteya, Punarjanma Navidyate. So, A Brahma Bhuvaner Loke, from the Brahma, the planet of the Brahma Loka, to the down to the lowest planetary system, Punaravartino Arjuna, one has to take birth again and again. But one who comes to me, Punaravartino Arjuna, Mamupetyatu Kaunteya, but one who reaches to me, and Punarjanma Navidyate, there is no more the birth and death, repeated birth and death. So this is the Brahman aspect here. So this is also another aspect of Krishna. We cannot separate, okay, oh, this is something different, something that, something those. But this is the another aspect of Krishna. So as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that, this is called Achintya Bheda, Abheda Tattva. Simultaneously, the different, and at the same time, it is oneness, right? So Lord, this is the Brahman aspect of the Lord, of the Krishna. But that is not everything. Okay, this is the verdict. Okay, now Brahman, that's only Brahman is there. No. So this is where then we come to that point where the Bhagavan aspect of the Lord. Bhagavan means, it's very wonderful to understand who is this Bhagavan. Bhagavan means there is the word, the three syllables, Bhaga, is Bha means sustainer or the protector. Okay? One who sustains and one who protects everything. Ga means leader, pusher, and the creator. And then Va means all living beings dwell in the Supreme Lord. And the Supreme Lord is part of every living being. So this is, so one who has this, possessing everything, like is known as Bhagavan. Then of course,
Haribol, Prabhu, sorry, can you repeat it? The voice was fading in and out.
Okay, so Bha means sustainer, or we can say the protector. Bha. So this Bhagavan, if you divide it into 3 syllables, Bhagava, and means that one who possesses all. Bha means the sustainer or the protector. This is the one aspect. Bha. Ga means the leader, the creator. Everything emanates from him. This is called Ga. This comes. Then Va means dwelling. That one who holds everything, one who, controls everything and dwells everything within that the Supreme Lord. That's why everything dwells within the Supreme Lord. As we know that, in the universal form of the Supreme Lord, we saw that the universal form of everything is there within the Lord. So in one sense, this entire material universe is also within the Lord. It's not that we say, oh, it's separate from it. So he dwells everything. That's why it is known as, anybody knows what is the Lord name is Vasudev? Why anybody knows why Lord's name is Vasudev? Can you unmute and say if you know?
Because
Son of Vasudev.
like
Son of
Son of
Son of,
Vasudev.
son of Vasudev.
not because of that, but Prabhuji, I don't know how to tell in English. Like Vasi, because he is Vasistadu kabatti Vasudevudu. That means he who resides
Besides where?
everywhere.
Okay. I mean, yeah, it's very close. I mean, Vasu means
Is
what?
it the 4 expansions, Chaturvyu expansion, and from him it comes everything?
Yeah, of course, that's true. But Vasudev literal means, I'm asking for what is the literal meaning of Vasudev. Right?
Vasudeva.
So, but saying the Vasu means one who dwells everything, every resting place. And, that's why Vasus means Ashtavasus. Generally, we call it as Agni, Vayu, all these are Vasus. So everything dwells, everything manifests, who controls, he dwells everything within himself is called Vasu. The Lord of that is Vasudev. I mean, generally, which is considered as the Lord Vishnu, is the Vasu. Vasu means that one who dwells everything. And the Lord of Vishnu, Vasudev. Dev means one who the Lord of that Vishnu. Even that's why Krishna is known as Vasudev. And of course, even before even the son of Vasudev, Krishna was also known as Vasudev, right? Vasudev. Or we can say Vasudev. Yeah. So this is why, because of this is the another Bhagavan aspect of the Lord. So Bhagavan aspect of the Lord is that he has a form, he has qualities, he has paraphernalia, he has a board, he has an identity, and he has companions, he has wonderful pastimes, and he has everything that he has. So there, which separates from that material world to the spiritual realm, there one can see that the Supreme Lord, Supreme Abode, which is divided into like Vaikuntha planet, and the topmost of the Vaikuntha planet is the Goloka Vrindavan. There he eternally exhibit the pastimes, eternal pastimes of the Lord. So there he has a form. So it's simple, very simple. We can understand this. So we are also part and parcel of Krishna. The Supreme Lord is called Atma. So we have a form here into this material world. Now, can we say that Lord doesn't have a form? He is subjected to have the form. Right? Atma has a form, Paramatma has a form, and the Supreme Lord has a form. So that's why the personified aspect. So this has to perceive. So only by the process of bhakti, devotion, love, that one can perceive this aspect. That's why if you go to the Goloka Vrindavan, so there what is happening? Only exchange of love, nothing else. Only the exchange of love between his devotees and the Lord. Everything and everybody is in the service of the Lord, either in the form of Dasya, or in the form of Sakhya, or in the form of Valsalya, or in the form of Madhurya. So what does that mean? It is completely loving exchange between the Supreme Lord and his close devotees. So one has to reach that level. So this is where the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So he comes once in a day of Brahma, and similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also comes once in a day of Brahma. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami revealing that, yes, Krishna is saying, as the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So in the Sri Rupa Goswami says in the Nectar of Devotion, Atha Sri Krishna Namadi na bhavet na indriya sevonmukohi jikhvadu swayameva spuratiyata. We cannot understand and perceive the Supreme Lord by our blunt material senses. Atha Sri Krishna Namadi na bhavet na indriya, with our mental speculation or by blunt material senses, we cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It has to perceive it. Sevonmukohi jikhvad, seva, loving devotional service. Only by loving devotional service, one only can perceive. So, dear devotees, we have thousands of examples. You know that the Vilamangalam Thakur was in the Vrindavan. He was blind and struggling, but he's always talking about Krishna, right? Mukunda Madhava Govala. I mean, he's Krishna Ramedi. He was singing that beautiful songs of Krishna, Balam Mukundam, all those wonderful, Krishna Karnamata. He was compiling and writing and always conscious of Krishna and with the love. That's such a love for Krishna. He's completely surrendered everything to Krishna. Because he wanted to come out from this material entanglement, he himself poked his eyes and he became blind voluntarily. And he was walking from the north to west to, Vrindavan. Can you imagine? No help, nothing. So Krishna helped such. So Krishna understood and so that he's so lovingly he is serving Krishna. So then what happened? Krishna personally came. Krishna personally came to serve him. So as it's mentioned that Krishna in the Narada Pancharatra, there is a book which reveals that Krishna always meditate upon his devotees, and devotees always meditate upon him. Krishna does not know anything else other than his devotees, and that his devotees doesn't know anything other than Krishna. I mean, when we say Krishna, Radha Krishna, this is various other aspect of it. It's mentioned that even Krishna doesn't take much care of like Lakshmi Devi or Srimati Radhika or Tulsi Devi or anything like that. But Krishna personally makes sure that he takes care of his devotees. It is mentioned that when he sends the Sudarshana Chakra to protect his devotees, so he makes sure that he personally go there to make sure that has taken care of it. Because of he has such a love for his devotee. Why? Because of devotee has such a love for Krishna. This ultimate realization. This is our natural form. This is our Swarupa. Jivera Swarupa hoy Krishnera Nityadas. Jiva Swarupa, our Swarup, our eternal identity is nothing but is that to serve that Supreme Personality of Godhead all the time. How to serve? The different ways. That's why this bhakti process is the topmost of all. You don't need to go to, Himalayas and do the penance to attain. These are all indirect processes, as Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita. One who surrenders me, sarva dharman parityajya mamegam sharanam rucha. Aham tam sarva pabhebhyo mokshekshami masvijaga. One who surrenders unto me, I would relieve from all his sinful reactions, and I will take care of him without any doubt. So this is Krishna's promise. So one who practices, that's why our Acharyas brought these wonderful processes of bhakti. Bhakti process means this loving devotional service. Loving devotional service with love. As Krishna says that, Patram Pushpam Balandoyam, Yome Bhaktya Prayachadi, Asnami, Prayadatma. Yeah, I mean, with Patram Pushpam Balandoyam, with offer, water, the flower, a leaf, and a fruit with love. offer with a love. So Krishna is looking that solely. That means a person has to come out of his old material entanglements. So now what is our constitution? We love this material world. Like Dhamma Maharaj says like that. In olden days, people love each other and then, use the things. Now what is happening, people? People love things and use people, right? Things and use people. So this is the world right now. So similarly, that we should love the Supreme Lord and keep aside all these material entanglements, material hankering. So then we come to that stage. That's why Adho Shraddha, we should have that faith in the Supreme Lord. Adho Shraddha, then we should associate with the devotees, Sadhu Sangha. Then we engage in the loving devotional service. That's called the Bhajana Kriya. One has to engage in the loving devotional service. Without engaging in the loving devotional service, this is called sadhana. Our practice. We are practicing devotees so that we come to that stage, sadhana bhakti. So then sadhana gets much worse. We develop that, the raganuga bhakti. We develop that raga, we develop that attachment for Krishna. Then what happens? Bhajana Kriya. Then we come to the stage called the anarthanavarti. Come to that, our all lower status of our mental, sensual, and bodily needs. Everything, as is mentioned that yama, niyama, prasana, pranayama, all this, then align ourselves with that, our mind, body, and words, everything for the service of the Lord. So this is called the dhyana, dharana, and all those, right? So then we come to that stage, then we develop nishta, and then we develop the ruchi. Nishta means steadiness. We develop such a steadiness in the Lord. When we say that, okay, we should chant in the morning, what we do? We get up in the morning, Brahma Muhurta, we chant sincerely, attentively, and that time with the Supreme Lord. So we are now meditating, mantra meditation. So chanting His holy name, that means glorifying and hearing at the same time, also seeing the pastimes of the Supreme Lord as a person. So this is what it is. Srila Prabhupada says that when a tortoise, how to hatch the tortoise eggs. So when a tortoise wanted to hatch his eggs, hatch their eggs, the tortoise come on the bank, the shore of the ocean. They laid the egg and they put that egg under the soil. Then the tortoise goes back into the water. When the tortoise goes into the back water, then tortoise is meditating on this egg. Okay, tortoise is meditating on the egg. So by meditating, the tortoise meditate on the egg, then in due course of time, it hatches. So this is the way this works. So it has such a power, such a potency. So our words, our meditation, our love, everything else is called Bhakti Shakti, right? The potency, the mercy that we get from the Lord. So first of all, we get the mercy from the devotees. We get the mercy of the Lord when we are sincere like this. Then what happens? We get the devotees association. Or then we come to that stage of Nishta and Ruchi. So we develop that taste. Now we are slowly in relationship with the Krishna. So you are now seeing Krishna in everything. So that is the stage, Nishta Ruchi. Then we come to the stage called Bhava. You see Krishna in everything. That's Supreme Lord. When you come to the temple, don't see this is a stone. This is my Lord Shyamasundara, my Lord Srimati Sri Radha Shyamasundar. And you see that the Lord there. When you come to your altar, your deities, you see that this is the Supreme Lord. This is called the stage of Bhav because of you are now came out from your lower stages of this material plane. Now you are on the spiritual plane. There you see the Krishna is as real. So this is where called Bhagavan realized. This can achieve only by our loving devotional service. Without this, we cannot come to this. That's why all these various devotees, that's why we know that the gopis, so what they were completely in loving relationship with the Lord. Nothing that they're important for them apart from Krishna. The gopis and then the wives of the Brahmanas. And we can see that. That's why they are become so dear to Krishna. And as when Uddhava came to the Vrindavan, saw that it's so dear to the gopis. And Uddhava said, I am not qualified even anything, Let me be a grass in this Vrindavan so that I get the dust of these pure devotees of the gopis, so that I will be, purified. So, so this is the connection. This is the confidential knowledge that. So why the Vrindavan is so much loving exchange? Because of they executed such a love for Krishna. So that's what is we need to develop your devotees. We have to develop that love for Krishna. That's why bhava. Then we come to that prema. That means nothing that even we love Krishna more than ourselves in the sense that nothing in this world that more important than Krishna in anything. So we know that the story of when Krishna, the gopis heard that Krishna had a headache. So immediately, and the remedy was Narada came and told the remedy was the dust of the lotus feet of the gopis. And they immediately started to scratch and grab all this and gave it to Narada. Narada brought here and Krishna put it, and his headache is gone. So Narada told that you will go to hell because of you cannot touch or dust of your feet to Supreme Lord Krishna. He said, forget it. We don't care whether we go to hell, whether we go to heaven or anything. So our Krishna is having headache and we don't care about ourselves. So dear devotees, this is called devotion. So that's where we get it. Then all these processes that we know that Sravana Kirtana, Vishnu Smarana, Pada Sevana, Chana Vandana, Dasi, Sakya, Atmadiven, all these are there. So this is the entire process that how one can realize this Bhagavan. So many people didn't come to this, they don't see, they don't do anything. They say, oh, I saw, I did this one, I see, I can see the Lord, I did. No, you have to go through this process. And that's why the stage you get the purification. You get the stage of purification, the degree. That's why as Krishna says that Edamam Prabhadyande Stamstadeva Bhajamyakam Mama Vartamanu Vartande Manushya Partha Sarvashaha. The degree of that you are surrendered to me, I reward them accordingly. So this is the way that Krishna conscious. That's why Srila Prabhupada put this process called Krishna Bhavana Amrita Sangha. Krishna Bhavana, always Krishna conscious. This is showing that, exhibiting our love for the only this way that we can perceive, we can endure, we can enter into the eternal Leela of the Lord and all these things. Otherwise, Krishna doesn't have anything to do with this material world. That's why hundreds of millions of people does not know about Krishna. And that's why they do not know because they don't agree that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. And they say, oh, he was also a great hero. So similarly, they say that, oh, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a sannyasi. But one who knows Krishna, that's Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami revealing all this fact. Who is Krishna and what is his activities, right? Krishna says in Bhagavad, one who knows my transcendental appearance and activities. Janma karma cha me divya. Evam yobedi tattvadaha tektva deham punarjanma naidimamedi so Arjuna. One who knows my transcendental appearance and activities, upon leaving the body, never comes back into this material world. So one who knows that, dear devotees, this is our perfection. So all the time, so one who perceive this, one who come to this devotional service, not only that loving devotional service, all respect, that Krishna is everything for me. Oh Lord, you are mine. I'm yours. I'm here for you. And I would let me do that service for you. Never ever that take me away from your service. This should be our pray. And this is the mood that one should chant the holy name. That Krishna is very loving. And when we ask Krishna, Srila Prabhupada says, when you say Krishna, Krishna is right there for a devotee. And he sees him. And he can see him. Because of he is now surpassed all these lower stages and he came to that his original consciousness. What is that original consciousness? Krishna consciousness is our original consciousness, nothing else. So when we have original Krishna consciousness, that means we are originally with Krishna. This is our eternal identity. Krishna consciousness is our eternal identity. So that's what is we need to reach. So Srila Prabhupada is not an ordinary personality. The Lord, Supreme Lord Krishna, personally directing Srila Prabhupada to all this. And as we know that all these instructions that directly came from Krishna. And then we are so fortunate and that we have some opportunity to engage in this human form of life, engaging in that wonderful, wonderful, wonderful process of loving devotion so that we can purify ourselves. So Lord is ultimate of everything is that realizing the Lord is Bhagavan. He is everything. He possesses everything. And he is the Supreme Lord. He has form. He has qualities. He has gunas in the spiritual gunas, spiritual qualities, not the material qualities. He has nothing to do with the material. So all he has pastimes, he has leela, he has identity, he has abode, he has all these are there. So this is the Bhagavan aspect, Bhagavan realization. I think it's went a little up. Okay, thank you, dear devotees. Let me stop here. We can speak a lot about this. Thank you so much. And Hare Krishna. Are there any comments? Any questions? Any reflections? Anybody would like to add anything? Hare Krishna. Are you there? Any questions?
No, Prabhuji.
We are listening, Prabhuji. Nice class.
They're still in the trance, coming
Yes.
out.
Still in the trance. Okay. No questions?
You are explaining so nicely. You take us somewhere.
Hmm.
It feels so good.
Okay. If there are no questions, no comments, or reflections, anything else? Anybody else want to add? Okay. Okay, so let's conclude here then. Thank you so much. Let's pray together. Vancha kalpatarupasya kripa sindhubhyevacha
Patitanam pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
namo namah.
Vaishnavvrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Ki jai. Guru Premanand.
Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very well.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Prabhuji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Babuji. Thank you, Babu.
Hare
Very
Krishna.
well.